Every day Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases.
Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes.
The USA and China are engaged in a war of words over the origins of the coronavirus.
Remember, China has a history of infecting the world, and they have a history of running substandard laboratories.
但是非常遗憾，我们看到美国内的有些人现在在四处的甩锅推卸责任。
And the rift developing between the country hardest hit by the virus and the one where it all started could be bad news for everyone. So what's this argument really about? This is the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a research facility in the Chinese city where cases of coronavirus were first detected in November 2019. Most scientists believe the first human infection occurred at the city's wet market, but Donald Trump and top US officials have repeatedly claimed they've seen evidence linking the institute to the outbreak of the disease.
Have you seen anything at this point that gives you a high degree of confidence that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was the origin of this virus?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Their claims appear to be based on a private analysis of cell phone location data, which showed no cell phone activity in a high security portion of this laboratory between October 7th and 24th. It's led to speculation about a lab shutdown that might have been caused by a hazardous event. But the report cites no direct evidence for the Institute's involvement, and it's certainly not the smoking gun Trump has promised. There are other circumstantial details which are yet to be explained though. An early scientific study concluded that 3 of the 4 first confirmed cases in Wuhan had no connection to the city's wet market. It's also clear that China initially covered up the severity of the outbreak, with several whistleblowers silenced by the communist regime. But none of this is proof that the virus was deliberately manufactured by Chinese scientists, nor that it was released accidentally.
As people who carry out viral studies, we clearly know what kind of research is going on at the Institute and how the Institute manages viruses and samples. As we said early on, there's no way this virus came from us. We have a strict regulatory regimen, we have a code of conduct for research, so we are confident of that.
Indeed, a recent interview given by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo suggests the US isn't clear on exactly what it's accusing China of.
I can tell you that there is a significant amount of evidence that this came from that laboratory in Wuhan. Look, the best experts so far seem to think it was man-made. I have no reason to disbelieve that at this point.
The scientific consensus was not man-made or genetically modified.
That's right, I agree with that.
China has hit back, with state-run media labeling Pompeo evil for his comments last week.
他之所以前言不搭后语，是因为他一直在编造，用谎言掩盖另一个谎言，这已经是公开的秘密。
Chinese officials then made the unlikely allegation that the virus originated in Europe, citing cases in France and Sweden dating back to the last months of 2019. Neither side seemed prepared to go along with the broad scientific consensus that the virus originated in nature.
Out there in animals, there are SARS-like viruses circulating. They have recombined to form the current SARS-CoV-2, which then acquired additional changes to be able to infect humans. So all the data are there. If you just look at them, you can see that the signatures of this virus coming from bat viruses are very clear.
The WHO also remained steadfast that a live produce market in Wuhan had a role to play in the first transmission from animals to humans.
Samples were taken in these markets afterwards and studies were conducted there. Some of the samples turned positive for the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So the market must have played a role somehow.
So if the scientists think that the virus evolved without human intervention, why are both sides engaging in a potentially damaging political blame game?
Something happened. Either they made a terrible mistake, probably it was incompetent, somebody was stupid.
After all, back in February, Donald Trump appeared to be more than happy with China's handling of the outbreak.
Late last night I had a very good talk with President Xi, and we talked mostly about the coronavirus. They're working really hard, and I think they're doing a very professional job.
But now, as the US death toll from COVID-19 surpasses 80,000, the highest of any country, the president's response has come under intense scrutiny. Critics point to a string of flaws in his approach, dating back to his disbanding of the Global Health, Security and Biodefense Unit, responsible for pandemic preparedness, in 2018. With the US elections later this year, Trump has little choice but to lay the blame for the catastrophic US death toll at someone else's door. China, the WHO, and even his predecessor Barack Obama have all come under attack. And there are already signs that a hardline approach to China will be the cornerstone of Trump's re-election strategy.
40 years Biden's been wrong on China, supporting trade deals that destroy American jobs.
For its part, China has attempted to use the country's robust response to the virus as justification for its communist system of government.
The CPC's mobilization capacity, commanding the country's resources and personnel and materials, a mobilization unprecedented in global healthcare and in global poverty alleviation. The only way to end pandemics is collectively.
Any suggestion that the regime is not in complete control, that the virus might have escaped from a lab due to incompetence, for example, is intolerable to the Chinese leadership. Finally, there's the question of trade. The world's two largest economies signed off on phase 1 of a major trade deal in January, but a lot has changed since then. With mass unemployment and a weakened economy in the US caused by a nationwide shutdown, China is keen to negotiate more favourable terms. By blaming China for unleashing the pandemic in the first place, Trump may be trying to strengthen his bargaining position in future trade talks. It all means that while US government agencies, including the CIA, have found no evidence directly linking the coronavirus outbreak to a Wuhan lab, this theory is not going away anytime soon. Too much is at stake, perhaps even the US presidency.